So weird.
Hi there, my name is Bonita, and I am the mentor for the Wedding Academy. And I look after the US and Africa and GCC. And with me today is the lovely Ashlee Harris from Cincinnati, Ohio. Hi, Ashlee.
Hello. Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. You're looking mighty fine.
You know,
And
I tried, and being in quarantine, I have worn a lot of sweats and yoga pants. I feel like if I wear the sweats and the yoga pants, I will work out. But every blue moon, I feel like I have to get cute. So that it's like, every blue moon, I put a little get cute. I went to brunch the other day and I put on all my cute little jewelry, and I was like, oh, I do look a little fly today after wearing yoga pants for a week.
I know lockdown's been pretty crazy for all of us around the world. And, everybody I think is just ready for the world to open up.
Yeah.
So, um, what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. So now, Ashlee, you started with us quite recently, actually, as a student at the Wedding Academy. You enrolled, I think, in May.
Hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're doing the advanced diploma with us, the big
Yeah.
course.
Hmm.
Okay. And how are you finding it at the moment? I mean, what has been your journey so far
Um,
you started so recently with us.
it's been good. It's been more for me about trying to find balance. I
Mhm.
am about 4 courses away from obtaining my master's in HR. So trying to I make myself kind of go to my office every day when I get up at home, which is, half of my dining room. But, and it's like, what hours am I going to dedicate to the Wedding Academy? What hours am I going to dedicate to schoolwork? Because I'm kind of in that home stretch. So it's been good. I'm just kind of taking it slowly and not allowing myself to be overwhelmed. I'm like, want to get into the nitty gritty, but I'm also realizing I have to pace myself at the same time because I know I
Yeah.
have a lot going on outside of the business that I still have to take care of.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of us, this is the reality of studying online is you've got to be very structured and very self-disciplined in order to make it work for you. But, obviously, luckily you can dip in and out of our courses because there's no set deadlines, as you well
Yeah.
know. But at the same time, you've got to be really kind of focused and not let it slide,
Hmm.
too much and kind of be really disciplined and sort of sticking with it, making sure that you've got a timetable to stick to. So, you have got quite a different type of background. Can you tell me a little bit more about, can you share with us a little bit more about what your background's been?
Yes, so I do. I actually just finished my job that I have for 5 years as a current customer service representative in higher education. Um, I started out as a representative there, and then I became a manager, and I got to build my own team. And it was very fulfilling, but our company went through a merger, and because of that, my position was eliminated, and I just felt like it was a sign for me to go and do something different. But I've always kind of worked in the service industry, in the restaurant industry. I actually work at our local NFL stadium here on game day, and I work during some of the black tie like events, proms, weddings, fraternities, corporate parties. So the event planning, the event industry is not lost on me because I do work, during NFL season and during like prom season, wedding season at the stadium as well. But I've definitely always worked in the service industry. I don't know anything different than being around people, whether it's face to face or talking via email or phone.
Yeah, Pamela is just saying hello.
Hello.
Hi, Pamela, glad to
Hi,
see you.
Pamela.
How are you doing? I'm just going to pop comments on as they come in case people have some questions for us.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, that is awesome. That is awesome. I mean, not being a stranger to the events world and obviously coming from that customer service background, it is so important. It's such an important experience. And even though you might think of, you might not think of it now as being, relevant to the wedding industry. I've had so many people from such amazingly diverse backgrounds coming into the industry. And honestly, you do need to have a bit of everything and the most surprising skills to make a successful, be successful in this business. So, yeah, I'm really glad that you like in the middle of, such tumultuous times and this kind of upheaval that you've decided to take the bull by the horns and study for your master's as well as study with the academy, which is really awesome. I mean, kudos to you, really. Well done for taking that step. I mean, I know
Thank
that
you.
you've been in a you've been a superwoman, but you've been around in our Start Your Business Planner group for a little while before you got started. I just want to know, like, how did you kind of, besides, saying, I'm going to take the bull by the horns now and take advantage of, lockdown and, and the current scenario, to come up with something and reinvent myself for when we come out of it. How did you kind of, what led you into this career path? I mean, what made you decide to become a wedding planner? Because I know you mentioned to me in our chat before that, you actually did have your business registered. So
Yeah,
can you
I
introduce
did.
us with your business and give us
Um,
the backstory?
So I did. A few years ago, I was having such a difficult. I've always been interested in wedding planning. There was a show in the U.S. called "Whose Wedding Is It Anyway?" and I think it came out in the early 2000s, and it featured different planners from different states. And I always just found it interesting. I've always been drawn to like bridal things and weddings, and I love helping my family and friends plan their parties. So it's always kind of been like in the back of my mind that this is what I want to do. But I'm always like, will I be good at this? Am I creative enough? I've always been nervous to kind of just go for it. And a couple of years ago, I was really at a point in my job where I was essentially being bullied at work for being really good at my job, really. And I was just, I remember walking into my boss's office being like, look, I'm college educated. I don't need this job. I can go find another job. This is not, I could be doing something where I don't feel like I'm going to be stressed to go to work or I'm not looking forward to going to work. And he was like, no, you're so better than this. Just stay hanging there with me. Um, and I had been looking for other jobs. And then I was like, what do I
Oh,
really
wow.
want to do? And I was like, I've always loved event planning. Why am I not doing that? So I had registered
Yeah,
my business name, Events by Ashlee Monique, with the state of Ohio. I'm a member of the Association of Bridal Consultants, ABC. And I went
yeah,
through their wedding planner course and I was like, full speed ahead. But then I had some health issues and I needed to have surgery. So I
yeah,
ended up staying at my job and getting promoted and like, building my own team and building my own department. And it was fulfilling. But it just wasn't what I wanted to do. In the back of my mind, I'm like, why did I spend all this time registering my business and going through all these
yeah,
steps to not move forward with my business? And I have relatives who have successful styling businesses and photographers or bakers. And I'm like, what am I doing? This is not what I want to be doing. And then, these past couple months, I lost my job to a company merger and I just felt like it was a sign. I was like, I
yeah.
kind of already had one foot out the door. And then I was like, this merger, we're kind of dropping like flies around here. Am I going to be next? Am I
Wonderful.
not? And then I was next. And then I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm going to build Events by Ashlee Monique. Now that's
Yeah,
just what, it's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to find a supplemental income, but that's what I'm going to do. So I had, been seeing stuff online, with different webinars, Wedding Academy, and If I Made, and just some different, wedding companies that were offering free webinars. And I had attended the webinar through the Wedding Academy with Martha and Allie and Studio Linaria, and I just loved their story, and I loved hearing Kylie speak. And I was like, this is the one for me. Like after researching different like kind of wedding courses, and I went through it, and I was like, this is the one for me. I was just drawn to it. I felt like she gets me. She gets the wedding industry. She gets the struggle of people just don't wake up and decide they want to be an event planner, or they have different
yeah,
stories leading up to it. And I just thought this could be the perfect fit. And I'm finding that so far it's been, and it's meeting different people from around the world who are event planners or different vendors that are sharing their journey has been really cool.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been in the wedding industry for, 12 years. And, there's, as you say, there's people from across the world. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you make more connections as you move through your course. Just with the different planners out there. And honestly, our student community really is the cornerstone of, it's you guys that makes us, do really well. And, really offering you that support. And, we we're there. I mean, obviously, one half of the business, I always say, is that, you've got to get training. And I see that Brooke has just asked a question. I'm just going to bring it up here. How do I create my business? So I'm going to relate it back to the story, Brooke, and, you're watching. So I'm kind of going to include you a little bit in the conversation. And, so one half of the story is really, getting your craft in order, because you might have come from a different, you might have had some experience in events, like doing baby showers, and like yourself, doing black tie events, and, being with the NBL, and, being in that scene. But, you don't, being a creative entrepreneur it's quite difficult. It's different because it's, you can't be a business and read. There's a lot more elements, there's a lot more personalities to manage. And one half of the story is to get the knowledge under your belt, and learn the tricks of the trade. And, having been in business for 12 years as the Academy, we've made a lot of mistakes. We've seen businesses develop, and we've been a part of the industry. And, Kylie speaks at a lot of conferences internationally. Zoe does as well. Myself, Christine, we've been around in the business, in the industry. Zoe and Christine have all had their own businesses. I have been on the more of the business to business side of the wedding industry. And sales and marketing is my thing. So, we've seen a lot of business mistakes, and incorporate all of that knowledge into our course materials. So, when you get to the wedding planning part of, it all, there's checklists and swap files and all sorts of things for you to use, and it goes to incredible detail. But that's just one half of the story. The other half of the story is going out and learning how to run a business, and, identifying who your ideal clients are, and getting to grips with actually running a business as a creative entrepreneur. And then, of course, the third part of the puzzle is really being able to network with vendors and building those relationships with the industry. And, along the way, if you've got a supportive community behind you who's doing exactly the same thing as what you're doing, no question is silly or stupid, or feel that you need to feel embarrassed about.
Exactly. I've met planners who were like chemical engineers who have just, like, I've helped my friend plan her wedding. I've planned my own wedding. And I'm like, that's a big leap from being like a chemical engineer to just doing a whole 360 and becoming an event planner. So it's really cool to hear about other people's journeys and what they were doing previously, because I think that sometimes, especially as new planners, there's a lot of fear about, am I going to be good enough? How am I going to make the sale when there's all these great seasoned planners with these big portfolios? So it's really, you got to find what makes you you. And I think for me, having been able to build teams and lead teams and have the capacity to work in NFL stadiums and different sports and music arenas, I'm used to running events in a different capacity, but it's not completely new territory to me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's different, it's smaller, it's more personalized. And I have no doubt that because you've come from a customer service background, that your customer journey is going to be absolutely fantastic. Even I am sure that, given your background and given the fact that you've run these big events, not only gives you the experience in running a wedding, but also, you're going to be able to really expand on that customer journey and make it personalized. I mean, we've got to say in the industry that it takes somebody seeing your brand and seeing, what you do before they buy from you. Sorry, my internet might have gone off there for a bit. But I'm going to repeat this. Seeing you and seeing your brand, it takes about 14 times before people buy from you. And, that is a customer journey. And then, once people start engaging with your brand on social media or via your website, that is what we call the customer service, the customer journey, until they buy and also post, the event. So I'm sure that even if somebody doesn't land up buying from you, for whatever reason, I am sure that they will still, you'll have those customer service skills nailed down so well that they will probably, even though they haven't bought from you, they'll probably say to you, listen, I didn't book this girl, but she's absolutely fantastic. Send her an inquiry, and that's the skill that you've built up. So, don't think of those times that time is wasted Those times is,
Yeah,
that time spent in that job as wasted.
yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely don't, because I was speaking to someone last week and I was like, I've always considered myself an introvert, and people think that's really funny considering the business that I've always done with customer service. And I'm like, I'm like, I am a homebody sometimes and I have my small group of friends, but at work, it's just completely different. On game day, it's just completely different. I'm used to interacting with volunteers, I'm used to interacting with fans. Working in higher education, no student is alike. So I've definitely had to be able to empathize and problem solve and think on the fly at a lot of times. And it amazes people because they're like, you've always been the quiet, shy one, but then you know how to command a room and build a team. And it just seems like the two wouldn't go together, but
It does.
somehow it has worked for me over the years. So
Yeah, but I mean, you know what? It's years and years of experience, and it's the knowledge that gives you that confidence when you go into, a new, when you were going into a new client and doing something, having done something a few times, you sound really knowledgeable. You can kind of anticipate. And, even just walking with your knowledge that you've built up, you'll be able to walk into a client meeting and absolutely rock it. You're going to be very detailed. And, I find that introverted people in the sales environment is actually amazing. They're a little more reticent. Like I fire off like 5 million miles an hour, but, obviously introverted people actually do quite well. It's not to say that you can't be a salesperson and an effective marketer of your services, because the key to client success is actually listening to what people have to say. And that is such an important skill that people miss. You don't have to be an introvert to sell. So you did a masterclass on branding a little while ago in May. Like you said, you did the consultation, you came and did the masterclass, which we ran, which incidentally, word on the street is we're doing another masterclass in July, towards the end of July. So yeah, that's just fresh news in from the Wedding Academy. But our relationships at the Academy with industry people is such that we're able to put together special offers for our students with other businesses who are aligned with ours as well. You become part of this huge family of brands. And Martha and Ali from Studio Lunaria did a really good job in teaching people what branding was for your business. I mean, even I picked up some really valuable information from that session. So I want to talk to you about exactly where you are in your course and, going back down into building your brand and rediscovering, events by Ashlee Monique, because that was being put on the shelf for a while. And so now you've decided to breathe life into it. So you're currently busy with your branding and busy with your ideal client and your why. Can you tell us a little bit about who your ideal client is and how?
yeah,
What is the person?
I think my ideal client is definitely a busy professional. One thing that I have noticed is, especially with, millennial brides and people kind of not doing the same thing their parents did as far as the whole when to get married and when to do this. They're busier. They're starting to build their careers. I've had friends who, they might have been with their spouse 5 to 10 years and they've built these successful careers before they decided to get married, and they're so busy. And it comes to like wedding planning and party planning that then it all falls apart because they're trying to do too much and they're trying to take on too much and maintain their personal life and their career, and it's just too much. So, my ideal client is someone who I can relate to that may have a really busy lifestyle with family or their career, and they want to have this amazing wedding, but they don't know how to put it together. They don't have the time or the energy or the organization skills to take on that project, but they want it to be really beautiful. And I've had friends who just like adamant that they can do it themselves, and then they'll be like, I should have just let you do it. Like I should have just asked you for help, because the wedding, like as the bride, you're the bride. You should enjoy your day. You should be sipping champagne and then being spoiled and pampered, not running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to set centerpieces and stage your event. That's a lot for anyone to take on. And then, your friends and family help you, but they should be there pampering you essentially. So my ideal client is somebody who wants you to have a carefree, stress-free wedding planning process where they can and truly enjoy their day, whether it be the planning process from start to finish, whether that be a year or 6 months, or whether they just want me to come in, that home stretch in the final 4 weeks of their planning and final up the contracts and make sure everything is great on the day and the rehearsal dinner and all of that. Because there's some people who don't want a wedding planner. They just want someone to help them out in that final stretch. And that is understandable. So I want to be able to offer that to both my clients, because, there are some girls who have been dreaming about their dream wedding and they already have a big book and they have plans, but they just don't have they don't know how they're going to execute it. And that's where I come in, is with my organizational skills, my leadership skills, my time management skills, my take charge, no nonsense kind of, personality. Sometimes when I work NFL games, they always say I'm just like the petite feisty girl, because I will go toe to toe with what looks like a linebacker on game day, and it doesn't faze me. Like I'm 5 feet tall, but I will go toe to toe with you if I have to do it to get what I want. So to make the day run smooth. So, I think that the fact that I will go the extra mile for my clients and working in customer service is kind of giving me that way to empathize and personalize is just, I just can't wait to do it. I'm really excited to find clients and take on clients, and definitely I don't want to take on more than I'm ready for as a new business. So I want to start out, with smaller, intimate weddings, and hopefully get to the point where I'm doing, really big, opulent weddings. But I want to start small.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, people overlook that fact as brides. I mean, and this is something that you need to, and this is for everybody out there. Before I carry on with that, I just want to say hi to Cheryl from Abuja, Nigeria, who's joined us, and Celeste from Florida. And she's just kind of, actually, I want to put this up on screen. She's just kind of saying thank you for sharing your journey so far, and it's really inspiring her to set goals in her career, which is awesome. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to support you as the Academy and fellow students like beautiful Ashlee over here, who's got such amazing talents and like some success to show. So I mean, people, back to what I was saying, is that people as brides, and I mean, I think this is something that we really need to kind of remember to impart to clients, maybe not on your website, but certainly when you meet up with a prospective client, is that, you as a bride, it's a very emotional decision. From, the colors to, just the table settings, and how it's so laden with emotions that you're going to get a little bit confused. And a planner, it just becomes, even though it's not difficult, it just becomes such an overwhelm emotionally that it becomes a difficult decision, and you do feel overwhelmed.
Right.
Even if you are planning your wedding, yeah, you become very indecisive. And a wedding planner is just there, who's gonna, you're gonna hold their hand and kind of see the wood for the trees, help them see the wood for the trees, and you're going to be able to kind of give that calm, be that calm, steady force in this person's life. Because let's face it, if I pay for a party, and I've spent, $25,000,
it better be a really good party.
I better be having,
and the time of your life.
I better be having the best time at my own party.
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of brides sometimes don't think they need an event planner. They say, sometimes you don't eat at your wedding because you're talking to the guests, you're putting out fires. And I'm like, well, no, that's what I'm here for. I'm going to put out the fires. Everything in the back end you should not see. You should just be dancing with your husband and interacting with family and friends. You shouldn't see that the kitchen is on fire, or that somebody just dropped a piece of cake, or whatever it may be, or the flowers are not right, or it's, we got to go to plan D because plan A through C has not worked. That should not be your concern on the wedding day. Like, none of that. You shouldn't even know that happens at all. If there's like a stray dog or a horse running around somewhere and we got to corral some pets, you should not know. there should never be.
Exactly. It's called like paddling. It's like being that duck, like all seems, that beautiful swan that all seems amazing on top, but at the bottom it's like furiously paddling, and that's our jobs, as event planners,
Yeah.
is to make sure that it goes off without a hitch. So going back to your brand, Lovely Events by Ashlee Monique. So you had a consultation with Martha, who's our brand studio, and that was kind of a special together for people who join the masterclass, and of course to our students to kind of work on their brand.
Yes, I
How
did.
did how's that process been for you, working with Martha?
Um,
Yeah, and just kind of putting it all together, because there was a set process and she's taken you on it.
yes, it has been. So I had started working with Martha probably the end of the May. Her and Allie sent me sample brand logos, I think last week. And I honestly
Oh,
just
amazing.
almost started to cry. Like I literally almost got teary eyed. Because when I was meeting with Martha and, she sends you this questionnaire and I was filling out the questionnaire and I was like, do I sound like a crazy person? Do I sound like I'm all over the place? I'm like, I know me personally. I love enchanted gardens. I love flowers. I love a more simple romantic style, but I do like things kind of modern, but I want my events to be memorable. And, because of my background in customer service and management, they're going to be, perfectly organized. And, so I had a little bit of both. So then, talking to her, it was, just going more in depth. She was like, "Oh, I did it." She was like, "I didn't realize that you were, had a background in HR and you've worked in NFL stadiums. Um, so
Ooh.
that you have a lot more, to bring to the table on a, business aspect, but you also like things soft and elegant and romantic." So it was just really great to hear someone else talk about different ways to build the business and think about my business aside from just like, oh, I have to make something really pretty and throw some flowers and this and that, and think about what I bring to the table as someone who has experience in leadership and customer service. And then her and Allie sent me the logo samples, and it was like everything I saw in my head that I just couldn't figure out what to do with. It was like in front of my face, and I was like, these are gorgeous. How am I going to pick these? I like, both of them, and I don't know which, and I like this and this. And so now we're at that stage where we're like combining the two to figure it out. And it's been such a great experience, and I can't wait till it's all done so I can get my Facebook up and get a website going. But it's definitely been a very fun process. And I think seeing the sample logos, it really probably made it real almost, where it was like, this is a real thing. Like, this is
It is actually a thing.
it's real. Like, yeah, the business name is registered with the state and, but I'm like, this is like my logo, my name. It is real. And I can't wait to see it all come together.
I mean, I guess it's more real than when you first started. I mean, it's some feeling when you first registered with, your business name with the state.
Yeah, it did. It
And that
did.
was so rebirth. But I think this is finally like you're now working in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, going back to a couple years ago
Yeah,
and my
exactly.
mindset and thinking I was going to get started, it just was, I was in a different place in my life mentally and emotionally and health wise. And then just kind of reevaluating where I've been in my last career for the last maybe 6 months. And then, losing my job in a merger, I really, I think a lot of my peers at my job were very upset for me to be leaving. They were like, "You're just too talented to be leaving this company. I just don't understand it." And they were just really upset
Yeah.
for me. And I was just like, I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to go chase my dreams and do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I never really, I didn't get upset about it. I didn't cry about it. The one thing that did make me cry is my last day. A lot of my team that I had built there had told me I had impacted their life and their career. And I'm like, I didn't realize I made that big of a difference. I was like, you guys are fixing to make me cry on my last day. And sometimes, because sometimes you just don't realize you're making that big of an impact on someone. So that was really great, but it was like a breath of fresh air to get up the next day and know that I had nowhere to be. I had no one to answer to but me and my business. And that has been the most exciting part, is to sit and go through the Wedding Academy and think about where I want to be 5 years from now and 10 years from now. And that's been really cool. And to talk to, relatives who have businesses that they built their businesses from nothing, and they're working in the styling in the wedding industry. And it's just been really great to speak to them and let them know about my journey, and to see that my family and my friends are so excited for me. And it was like when the logos came and I was like sharing with everybody, like, I don't know what to pick. And they were like, well, this one is more suited to your personality. And they're just like, I can't wait to see everything come together. I'm just so excited for you. It has just been such an amazing journey to be on so far.
Oh, that is incredible. That is incredible. I am super excited to you. I'm super excited for you. And I just, I absolutely can't wait to see your name up in lights. But I mean, and you've mentioned that you've actually got friends and family in the wedding business and in the creative industry. So I have no doubt that, they're going to be passing you leads and they're going to be passing you information because, I mean, let's face it, 2020 is pretty much the season, the summer for weddings is pretty much a no-go zone. But, going into 2021, you're going to have a lot of planners that are extremely busy. You're going to have a lot of venues that are, completely booked up because think about it, all of the weddings this year have been moved out to next year.
Exactly.
And then people get married next year, still got to get married. So, it's going to be a big season.
It is. And I thought, when this first started, I was like, am I crazy to do this during the time of COVID? Like, and I'm like, no. I'm like, because like you said, a lot of planners, their clients are rebooking and they had to shuffle dates. So there's, there are going to be people who are going to need help and they're not going to, their planners might take on extra help. I've met some other planners from Ohio and all over that are just very genuine, like, oh, I'm happy to help you. What do you need? And they put it out there like, such and such, what do you need? They're very, following them on social media. I feel like what I've learned is the event planning and the wedding planning community is just so genuine and they're so open to helping, where you would think it would be a very competitive field where it's like, I'm not going to help this person. She's my competition and I don't want her to steal a bride from me. It's just like everyone is so open to helping people with their journey. And I think that's amazing because typically you don't get that when you're a new business because they don't want you to, be better than them and take their clientele. So I think it's very, interesting. I've met people who have worked steadily a full-time job and they just do event planning on the side where they're like, I'm only going to do, 4 or 5 weddings a year. And I also, some people, they're like, I worked my full-time job for 5 years and then I, was able to sustain my business. I know people who said they didn't charge a dime for their event planning for 5 years until they, until they built their name up. So it's been very interesting hearing people's stories and just thinking about all the things I want to do and all the different routes I can take. So it's been really cool to see, all these people with the Wedding Academy, seeing people all over the world. Has been really cool to see all these people building their websites and their niche and see all these cool mood boards and stuff online. It's really been really fun to see.
Oh, no, that's awesome. I'm so pleased for you. And you know what? The reason, I mean, I think, I was speaking to somebody, I just made a comment to somebody who's in the UAE and I've been based in Dubai for, a long, long time. And I've only recently left there. And, I was like, I really miss the planners community, the wedding industry in the UAE because I knew most of those people. I've been involved in the wedding industry in the UAE for a good part of 8 years of my life, and it's absolutely right. There's always space for somebody else, somebody new, because guess what? Not everybody is your ideal client. And once the course, once you start really refining that, I mean, I know you started doing that with Ali and Martha and Studio Lunaria in building, getting your logo out there and getting your branding done. But, you really start to focus down. And the more detailed you can be about who your ideal client is, the better it is for you. Because, you can say, like, to somebody, hey, you're going to be able to say to somebody at a networking event, going, doing that important elevator pitch, saying what your business is about. And, in a very short, sharp way, kind of say, this is what, Events by Ashlee Monique is. And these are the clients we'd like to service. And this is, the typical clients that we can work with. And clients, the wedding industry, because it's so diverse and because all the clients are so unique, that means that there isn't that kind of nasty competition, within the industry, because those planners that are really good understands what their work, what their work is and what their work is. So, who their clients are and what their work. So, people love to see other people succeed. And I'm sure that you'll enter into a lot of collaborations with stylists, who would be like, okay, right, especially those family members of yours, who are in the business, they're going to be like, hey, I know somebody who can do, even if they're doing the styling and they're working with you on just, month of coordination for a bride, it's going to be amazing for you. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing you take this business from strength to strength,
Thank you.
Yeah, I genuinely mean that because,
Thank you.
it's so exciting to see somebody going on about it. So tell me, when are you going to share your final choice of logo to the Wedding Academy Pro Group? Or are you going to make us choose as well? Because we can create a poll.
I've narrowed it down, so now I'm just waiting for it to be finished. So once it's finished, it will definitely be the final logo will be on Facebook, and then it's about building a website. And the thought of building a website is very overwhelming. I was talking to Martha. I'm like, I think I might need some help with that too. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks we will see it. I am really looking forward to getting the logo out there and getting my social media up. I've been debating, should I put social media up before having a website? And I was like, no, I kind of want to have it out there and just up and going, even though my website will be under construction. I want to start getting my name out there.
Exactly. So, and I mean, Martha, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. So once Martha and Allie finish putting all the wacky things in my head together as to one thing, you guys will see it on the Wedding Academy website.
Oh, well, and on the Wedding Academy Pro Group, even before you made up your mind. But the one thing I will say is that it is possible to, once you've got your brand aesthetic done and once you've got your ideal client absolutely nailed down, I really want you to focus on that for the next couple of weeks. I mean, claim the space on social. Just put up anything as a kind of, claim the name on Instagram and claim the name on Facebook and Pinterest, whatever. You've got the name. So, you don't have to put that logo up there before you can start. But I mean, what is important to do is you're going to be making a rod for your back, because once you start posting on that account, you need to be consistent. You need to have images which show a very clear brand aesthetic and what you're about. I mean, I'm sure you've got your brand aesthetic right now with Martha and all of that, but you're still going to have to plan a style shoot, for example. So I would really love for you to plan a style shoot for yourself with your aesthetics in mind, if possible, for the next couple of months. When it can be something really small, and especially if it's somebody within your family and a really great photographer, it doesn't need to be a whole bunch of people in a room. You can practice social distancing while planning a style shoot. And it might not necessarily be at a venue of your choice. It could be a very small shoot. But I'd love for you to try and plan the brand shoot for yourself so that you've got those images for when you start your website section. That's the one bit of advice I'm going to give you. And then the other bit of advice I'm going to give you is don't be freaked out about building your own website. Our website section in the business side, it's towards the end of the business and marketing module. There's a really fabulous collaboration we've done. I forget the name of this woman. I always forget her name. I'm so bad at this. I should know this. But that is honestly, it teaches you how to register a domain and what you need to do and the steps. So we hold your hand even through, how to put up a website and get your name up, make emails and all of that stuff is in your course material. So don't fret, don't worry. It's
Perfect.
about writing. Perfect, exactly. So it's about, as a digital marketer myself, I'd like to say to you that start thinking about also the content on your website, just in terms of sections. Kind of take a piece of paper and put some, what I like to use is, these Post-it notes as my favorite. I use these, and I kind of just, make sections on another piece of paper with labels. As to the different sections on the website. And, that's how it's a good way of planning out your website that way. So think about that and put the project to the side. But I'd like you to get through, the rest of it and sit with it. I mean, because I think, the thing is about our course is also, it is your business that you're working on. And we're just there to support you as you're going through your course, So all of those worksheets and everything, I find that, especially the business section, once you're getting through, your financials on the business plan, you're going to have to come back to that and refine it as you go along. It's not something that is ever finished, which is, I suppose, good news and bad, but don't feel too pressured. I mean, put stuff down, but then, continue moving on. So that's how I'd like to encourage you as you move through your course. So, A, don't panic. We're never going to let you panic. So, we got your back.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'd urge you to do a brand shoot. And I mean, do some mood boards, girl. I'd love to see some mood boards after you've chosen your logo for your brand shoot, because that's going to be super exciting.
I am excited to do mood boards. I've been thinking about seeing other people's style shoots, their mood boards. Me being a more of a simplistic, romantic garden person, I'm like, I already know that I, kind of want to do more of a garden-esque, kind of enchanted type styled shoot. So it's just really about pulling it all together.
Yeah, and you will do that. You'll do that so easily because you've got those relationships and you've got those people. But listen, we've been online for almost 40 minutes, which is crazy. I've absolutely, loved hearing about your journey with us so far and the journey of events by Ashlee Monique, which I can't wait to see. And, once that is ready, I'm going to go back into our student group and tag your business. So slide into my DM, send me a PM or whatever. When it's ready.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
We can tag, get some love for your Facebook page and your Instagram on when you finally launch it. And I'm sure it's going to do well. And I'm sure you're going to do well. And well done to you for taking the time out, in what could be really personally challenging times for you as a human, to taking the bull by the horns. And I genuinely mean that. I mean, well done for turning something potentially so negative into something so positive, and that you've got something else to focus on. And I think, you're an inspiration to everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashlee.
Thank you.
It's been awesome chatting to you, and I'll see you very soon. Yeah?
Yep. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.